All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode. This week, we're talking about some paddle updates, the Adidas Metalbone, more talk about the Gearbox, because that's probably going to be all anyone talks about for the next 6 months. We're going to talk about, is the Dura finally about to be dead? And then just a few other miscellaneous topics.
Yeah, my trip to Texas or Houston.
Yeah. Yep, Will just had a trip over there, so we'll get some stories from that.
I literally just got back at the time of recording this video. I literally got back like 30 minutes ago, like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, no one can question. Like anytime people like question your dedication to the pod, I'm like, dude, you can't question it after an 8-hour drive. And it's what is it? It's almost 10 p.m. right now.
Yeah, we're recording right now. Yeah.
Yeah, legend. I appreciate it. I appreciate you making me not do a solo pod.
Yeah.
Not have been nearly
what
as
are you
fun.
talking about? When I text you on the drive up, you're like, oh, I totally forgot about the pod. I
know.
Are you still down?
I was literally playing League of Legends, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have a pod to do today. I was like, holy crap. Yeah. It didn't help that today was Sarah's birthday, so we were just gone all day.
Happy
and then when I got
birthday,
home,
Sarah.
I was like, I'll play some video games and like. So I'm glad you texted me because I totally would have gone to bed and just I would have woke up tomorrow and been like, oh, the pod.
No, you would have been asleep. I would have FaceTimed you and I'm like, hey man, I'm ready to shoot the pod, and it would have been completely dark, and you're like, huh?
And be like, what? The sad part is I probably would get out of bed and go record a pod.
It wouldn't have been sad. That would have been dedication.
Yeah, true.
Okay, anyways.
All right. Well, first thing
I
I want to talk about. So last week we talked about how, you can't really sandbag nationals because it's UTPR. You don't get to pick.
They
UTPR
just
sucks.
place you wherever.
Yeah. Like the rating system is terrible. But the ironic thing is our games got put into Duper. So I'm like, our games got entered into Duper, and now our ratings are updated because of it, but the whole tournament's based off UTPR. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it is a PPA event, so those... Right? It's a PPA event, essentially.
Yeah, so just, like, use Duper. Like, please stop using UTPR. It's such a... it's just stupid, and I found it so ironic that is how that went.
That is so dumb. So I'm guessing... You're probably actually truly 3.5 now, and I don't even know what my duper is.
Nah, we barely changed, to be honest. We're I think you're like a 4.84, and I'm like a 4.74 or something.
Oh, okay. Dang, you're that close to me now? Shoot, I need to go to some more tournaments. This can't happen.
Dude, I might pass you after San Clemente, me and Davis Pickleball.
Oh my gosh, you actually probably will.
Dude, if I end the year higher duper than you,
oh no,
then we know all these tournaments where you've been saying it's my fault, we'll know it wasn't me.
No, it's definitely your fault because in Houston, I played a little mini tournament with NAM, and we won. So,
did you win?
Yeah, we won, and we won money. So,
dude, that might be more of a miracle than trying to carry me. I think it would be harder to carry NAM than it is me.
Dude, I looked at NAM, and we're getting more into this later, but I looked at NAM for this tournament. I said, dude, no dinking. Bang, bang all day, baby. That's what I said. And that's all we did. That is all we did. And there were a few tough teams in there. And also, to make things even harder, I played with the Lux.
Oh.
Yeah,
maybe that's been the problem. You've been using that 006, and the Lux is the key.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna tell you right now, my shoulder hurts.
Hang on,
trying to put away balls.
We're not gonna name it, but did he use what I think he used?
No, he didn't. I gave him the Gearbox.
Oh, he didn't.
Pro Power Paddle Fusion.
Oh, I'm actually really surprised he used that.
Well, he was like, nah, let's not. He's like, let's not get these guys mad at me.
Yeah, that's wise.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he used that. I mean, he was still ripping them. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
We'll get more into that later. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's crazy. But anyways, I do want to update on some paddles quick. So I will have a video out on the Adidas Metalbone
this week.
I don't know if it's going to come out before Thanksgiving or after. I might. If ideally I'd have it up on Wednesday, but we'll see. But you're basically going to get my opinion of the Adidas Metalbone right now. We did a first look video, and I played a bunch yesterday with it, and it's just not good. Like it's just
not good.
Now, I'm gonna preface this with, because I think this is really important for people to understand a lot of time, like where my head is when I say like a paddle's not good. Especially like in this case, the price is a huge factor in this. For $260, so many things are. First of all, the Engage Ultra Pursuit, which like we all know flopped, right?
Yes.
I would pick that over this. So if that tells you that I would rather spend $260 on the Pursuit Ultra, that should tell you something. But it just like the sweet spot's small.
Yeah.
The spin is subpar. I haven't tested it yet, but going between other paddles, it was night and day different for spin. It's like probably an all-court paddle, and it feels like it's going to come with guaranteed tennis elbow. Like the vibration from the paddle to your arm is just nuts.
Not good.
Like,
wait, are you telling me those bolts you put in the center, like, they can't dampen it? What if they had some additional bolts that were like made out of a different material? Yeah, dampen, like softer, and like that would dampen the feel.
That would be kind of cool.
Wow. Hey, you're welcome, Adidas. Yeah. I'll send you an invoice.
There you go. Free idea. But yeah, even I tried a bunch of different bolt configurations, and like it doesn't really change the paddle performance.
It doesn't change anything. It can't change anything.
Well, the paddle feels different, but only the same way that if you just made your paddle heavier without changing balance or anything would change your paddle. Like it did not have any impact on sweet spot. It probably did hit harder because, you're going from like 8.4 ounces to 8.7, but like not substantially. So bolts didn't make a huge change. Sweet spot was subpar. Like it reminds me a lot of a Nomex paddle. So I know a lot of people have been like,
loud?
It's hard to say, man. I think it's quite loud, but I haven't hit a Z5 in a minute to compare, but I would definitely say it's above the average pickleball paddle.
I see.
But maybe not as loud as like a Black Ace.
Okay. Well, that's a little disappointing because I think the paddle looks pretty cool and it was a nifty idea. Maybe it just wasn't executed as well as maybe they would hope.
Personally, I think the biggest problem with it is probably the PMI foam, which is funny because that's the thing that people were maybe most excited or curious about. I think everyone expected, when they heard foam, they were thinking like EVA foam, like soft, squishy, like feels good on the arm. This is like the exact opposite of what you would think foam to be. Like it's like hard, it's stiff.
I see. So it's not even foam. PMI. What does the PMI stand for? I remember last time I was like, is that property mortgage insurance? I asked Adidas about some of that stuff and they told me. I don't remember exactly what it was called. Some long word that I can probably barely pronounce. But yeah, I think that I like what they did with the concept. I don't think they should give up the bolt idea. However, here's a quick thing on the bolts, talking to some other people. If you were to put it on the sides, the top, and the other area, you know how people like scrape their paddles? Imagine you just like damage a bolt and like strip the head or something and now you can't take it out. I didn't even think about that, but that would kind of suck. I'm sure they can figure out something to like
if you could recess the weight maybe or something like that.
Yeah, you can recess the bolt or you could always maybe tape over it. I mean, it wouldn't look as
that
clean.
Would be weird. Yeah, that would definitely look really ugly.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's an option,
I mean, I guess if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I give them props for the idea. No one's tried that. I think it's cool to see companies continuing to push things forward like this. But I do think this one just missed the mark again. Like, I don't know. You know how there are oftentimes a paddle, especially right now, like there's tons of thermoformed options and you're like, well, it might not be the best, but I could still like recommend this to some group of people. I genuinely don't know who I could recommend the Metalbone to. Like, I don't know what play style it would be better for than something else. At $260, it's too expensive. I don't know, just all around, it's not good.
It's for those diehard Adidas fans, obviously. It's for Rafa
because there's so many of those. Rafa Hewitt. There's so many of those. So, I don't know. I hope the next one's better, but that's largely what you guys are going to hear me say in my review. So, there's that.
All right. So, it sucks. All right. There you go, guys. You heard it here first. Moving on.
There you go. All right. So, next, the Gearbox drama. Obviously, this is never going to go away. So, I've gotten comments on my reviews ever since that review came out and people started getting it, some people were like, mine doesn't hit as hard. The power's not there. And then, as people got to use the paddles more, there's a lot of people in my Discord who are like, okay, I used it for a while. The paddle got hotter. Now it feels like what you described in your review. And then there's people on YouTube who got it and they're like calling me a liar. They're like, this paddle's junk. It has no pop. It has no power. I'm a really good player. And like, you guys are lying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, yep, I threw my whole review credibility out the door for one paddle. Like, you got me. Yeah. But basically what we figured out, which we've talked about a little bit, is there's absolutely, whether you want to call it a break-in period or something's breaking, no one knows yet. I'm hoping to get to the bottom of it at some point. At the moment, we're calling it a break-in because that's what Gearbox calls it. Mm-hmm. The paddle 100% changes. It goes from, because I bought two myself. Bought one from Pickleball Central, and then I bought one from a guy in Texas who had it brand new, who also got it from Pickleball Central at MLP or Nationals. I don't remember. Anyways, I have two brand new ones, and I was hitting the other one the other day. It does not feel like my broken in one, but I have hit other people's now that broke them in, and it felt exactly like my other one. So I think the Gearbox eventually gets there when you hit it enough, but what I want to know is something going wrong? And like, is it going out of spec deflection wise? Because the broken in one, it's night and day power difference. Like, you will not mistake these. The brand new one still hits hard, just not like scary hard.
Scary hard. Okay, so
yeah,
we're waiting to see the answer or the results from this.
Yeah. So one thing I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna start using these other two that I have. I'm gonna break them in. I'm gonna leave one alone. So I always have that as a frame of reference because they were the same out of the box. Break one of them in, see how it changes, and then I have a reference point to go back to. And then I'm going to do a couple other things, but I just want to see how it changes. But the more I started thinking about this, I was like, what other time in pickleball history have we had a paddle that gets better and hits harder the more you use it? And what was that? Oh, right. Core corruption. I was like, this is really familiar.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that that's happened to the Gearbox because I have absolutely no idea. All I do know is that it changes drastically, and it just feels like that wouldn't be intentional, but I don't know. There's nothing really that makes me think it's broken. It's just, it hits harder and sounds different. The sound is also, that was a big giveaway.
Yeah. Do you think, okay, so if USAP or PPL, they put a limit, they test exit velocity of a paddle, and you can only get so much power.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do to a paddle to actually make it better? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there like a cap of like the best paddle? Does that make sense? Like, can you actually innovate and do more things for a paddle to perform differently if you kind of put a hard limit on how powerful it can be?
I think so. I think you certainly have a constraint, but I do think that having constraints is a good thing, right? Like, if we all had pickleball paddles that could hit as hard as a tennis racket, I don't think any of us actually want that, right? Like, that would, I think, objectively be bad for the game.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because I was just like, well, I can't really talk about power anymore because this, it's max power now. So the only other things we can really talk about is spin and maybe touch, feel, maybe materials, etc. And
right,
it just would be kind of boring.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it will be interesting to kind of see what they land on. But it feels like an entire mess right now. And it makes so much sense now why some people think like, oh man, this paddle doesn't hit how people described at all. And I would probably think that too. If I bought one of these and I heard my review and I had this brand new in my hand, I would probably think a similar thing. It still hits hard. Like, I actually still like using it. When I was playing yesterday, I would still choose to use this paddle, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to murder someone with this thing. It's just like, yeah, hits pretty hard. So I don't know. Definitely have a lot of questions about it. I'm curious if Gearbox is ever going to say anything. There's also still been QC issues all over. Like, the weight on average seems to be about 7.7 ounces. Both of my brand new ones are 7.7. There's been some people in my Discord who had ones where they like clanked paddles with someone, like they both hit an overhead. The face cracked, the edge cracked. Like it just, this paddle is definitely not Gearbox durable like the other ones. Like I'm seeing out of the box these weird like bumps. It's almost like there's a bubble in the face. Like,
Okay. Oh, yeah.
It's lots of small things here and there, but I have not seen a paddle launch in forever that had this many issues out of the box. And I think if this was any other brand, it would be bad. Also, I think if, Gearbox saw other companies, like let's say it was like a Ronbus, like having these issues and they were doing like the podcast parade again, I'm sure it would be like, yeah, look, like these companies have no idea what they're doing. But like so far it feels like Gearbox has kind of brushed these off like, no, like this is fine. I'm like,
I don't know, it's fine.
But it's not. It's not fine. Not with your reputation, it's not.
Yeah. Totally agree. Okay.
So
we'll keep you guys updated on the news with the Gearbox. Chris, let us know about your current ones and your current testing. So now it sounds like you have, a control group and you're testing out some things. How many of those do you have? Like 5?
I own 3 Pro Power elongated, and I might have 2 more coming. And then obviously like the Pro Power Fusion and all those, which I do want to hit all those. But here's my dilemma right now. I need to hit these to break these in, but I also need to go review other paddles, and I have a tournament. So I'm like,
yeah, you're done.
Which project do I want to work on?
You're not going to finish any of these.
Yeah, we're going to try. We'll see. But all right, that is all my paddle updates. Yeah.
Now we're going to talk something way more exciting.
Yeah.
The balls that we hit in pickleball. You named this topic. Is Dura going to die? Wow, it's so dramatic.
Well, you don't got to say it's so dramatic.
What are you talking about? That's how I read it. Like, this is how you even... Okay, maybe maybe it's bolded because it is the topic.
Well, that's how you organize it. It's 8 heading 3,
Anyways, That's just how I saw it in my mind.
I'm totally going to make that the title of this podcast now.
Is Dura going to
Is it going to die?
Die.
It's so funny you read it that way.
You're going to put an RIP in the middle of the thumbnail?
Oh, dude, you're making my life so much easier tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so this has not been 100% confirmed yet, but I keep hearing through a bunch of different sources that Vulcan is going to be the ball of choice for PPA next year.
Dude, I didn't even know they made a ball.
They don't yet. It's not. Everything I've heard is obviously the ball's not out yet because it's not out yet. There's no ball to hit, but I have heard people who have hit it, and then enough sources have told me that's going to be the ball. We'll have to wait and see if that's 100% confirmed. But the reason I want to talk about all of this is because obviously we've had our gripes about the Dura. Everyone has their gripes.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to care about the Dura anymore if that's no longer the ball of the PPA?
I don't think so.
Like, a lot of people are like, no, the Dura's the best ball. It's so fast, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay.
No,
yeah, it's because we have to use it for the PPA. Are you still going to use it if the PPA doesn't use it? Like, why would you use it? You wouldn't.
No, I would never choose that ball over anything else.
Here's the thing,
unless I'm practicing for a tournament. That's it.
If I had an unlimited supply of Duras, I don't care. I don't mind playing with it until, it goes out of round or cracks or whatever, which doesn't take long. But if I could replace the Dura every point or every other point, I probably wouldn't care. But you can't replace it that frequently unless you're rich, and I'm not.
Yeah, no, it's no one. I don't know. Comment down below if you guys like playing with the Dura. I mean, like, actually like it, not just because it's the ball for most of these major tournaments, so you kind of have to practice with them. If you like the speed, you like the spin, whatever. But yeah, I think I hear more negative things about it than positive. In my opinion, the only positive thing I hear about it is that it's fast.
Exactly. Which, it's fine. Like, again, it's not like I don't like the game playing with it. It's just that there's a lot of the ball goes out around, it cracks, yada yada yada. So I'm very curious to see, because at this point, even if it's not Vulcan, there's plenty of other companies that just came out with a ball, and we're going to talk about Selkirk's in a minute, that could have won that bid.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see everyone pivot on the Dura and be like, oh, actually, like, yeah, the Vulcan ball, man. Like it's the best ball. I never liked the Dura. It's like everyone's gonna suddenly be like, oh yeah, like always hated that thing.
So is this like confirmed? Like where did you hear and see this?
I've heard from a lot of insiders that is what's happening.
Wow.
So it's
That
not public yet. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not public yet. So I mean, we could technically be wrong. Like this could go out and they could just totally flip it on us.
You never know. Pickleball, everything changes very quick. So maybe I've heard it's a done deal, but I'm not in the meetings. I don't know. So all I'm saying, though, is good riddance, Dura.
Rest in pieces.
And okay, well, let's talk about the Pro S1 because that kind of comes into all this. Yes. I want to know if Selkirk didn't win the bid, why they didn't win the bid, because they've got a winner of a ball right there. Pickleball would be a happier place if the Pro S1 was just the ball of choice.
Yes, I would agree. Although I'm not gonna lie to you, if we switched to the Pro S1 ball, and with the paddles getting as good as they are in terms of spin, dude, you're gonna be seeing shots like that you haven't seen before with the Pro S1 ball, because that ball gets so much more RPM and it dips so hard sometimes. I think there will definitely be an adjustment period, because I've seen like regular players, 3.5, 4.0 players, they hit that ball and they get way more spin, and some of them are hitting clean aces or winners. Like people are just completely whiffing on it because they're not used to it, and that would have been, I don't know, interesting to see. But on the Pro Tour, you would see so many more like dipping shots. It would be very hard, to play against it, at least from the baseline. I feel like singles would be really difficult. I think it would change the game of singles. Doubles, maybe not too much. You'll see a few more better shots in transition. But
see, I need to pay attention to this because I still haven't noticed this, but I've also not been looking for it at all. So I need next time I play with one, I need to just like pay attention.
Play with it. I mean, I don't know. It feels really noticeable to me. I don't know, maybe not to you because, you're not good enough to generate that much top spin.
The one thing, the one thing I'll say is and we'll talk about this in a minute too, but we were playing with the Pro S1 yesterday, and one of my friends, he's just hitting these backhand rolls. And I did say, I was like, dude, these are some really nice, like they had a bunch of spin on it. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like you're just hitting some really good backhand. Maybe it was just the ball.
It could have been just the ball. No, I'm telling you, it's that ball. I'm telling you, it's that ball. But I'm surprised that they didn't win it because, I don't know. I just feel that, I mean, they have a good ball. It's been out. People seem to like it. And with, Selkirk's kind of dominant market share.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't either Selkirk or Yola. I'm kind of curious, between those two.
Yeah.
Just because it would just make more sense because, they're the kind of behemoths in pickleball right now,
Yeah. Same. I mean, I look at a Yola and a Selkirk and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what it costs to lock down one of these, this bid, but I'm like, okay, $1 million for Yola or Selkirk, probably worth it. I can't imagine that even $1 million would be the like stopping block. The amount of balls you're going to sell from every tournament having to use these, all these players having to switch to it, like feels well worth it to me. So I am confused, but who knows? I'm sure there were other factors that went into it, but that does surprise me.
Yeah. Well, both those balls are better than the Franklin, I would say so. I mean, some of you might be wondering, oh, why aren't we talking Franklin in the mix? Well, because a lot of people also play with Franklin, but it's because that Franklin ball is okay.
It's just soft.
Yeah, it just gets soft. That's it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Would be nice to have seen the Pro S1 be the ball. Who knows? Maybe it'll change last minute. I would love to see it. I think what's going to be an interesting, I don't want to say problem, but the Franklin obviously still holds a lot of market share. It's been around forever, so understandable that a lot of people are going to be used to it.
The Franklin's not going to go anywhere, I don't think, anytime soon.
So my question is, how well will the Pro S1 penetrate the market, given that if Vulcan is the PPA Tour ball, APP might still be using a Dura, so maybe it won't be completely dead unless they are also going to have a new ball sponsor. And then lots of people still like Franklin. What's it going to take to get people to use a Pro S1? Personally, I think I'd rather use that over a Franklin all day long.
Same.
But I just feel like the biggest way to penetrate the whole market would be to get into those tournaments.
Yes. No, I agree. I don't know how well it will penetrate, but if any company can do it, it's probably Selkirk, you know?
Yeah.
But also, I'm also curious about this whole bidding system of how you got a ball, because is it purely just, money or monetary based?
Yeah.
Does the PPA or do some of these major tournaments, do they have a committee that tests out the balls? Do they care? I mean, I'm sure they care about the performance, but who's testing and who makes that call like, oh, this ball meets the specs or the performance parameters that they require, right?
Yeah. For sure.
And because I've never played, I don't know. It's just because I've never played with the Vulcan ball. I'm just hearing about this now. I would have liked to play with it to see, because what if...
Imagine it's worse.
Exactly. Imagine it's worse. Or imagine the pro players switch to it and they hate it. Or, I don't know. Did they have a say in it?
You know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like when we switched to pickleballbrackets.com and everyone was like, I didn't think it could be worse than pickleball tournaments. That's what we're going to be saying about the Dura. We're going to be like, Dura, come back. That would be so bad if that's the case.
The memes would be hilarious.
Oh, they would be absolutely off the chain. I'm going to pray that is not the case.
Well, if it is Vulcan, I pray that they have a good ball and a good product, because just imagine like the first tournament of the year, like 2024, and somebody hits something and then like it just disintegrates into the ground, or they get back press, or the ball cracks, or
ball
something.
Splits in half.
Exactly. Like, oh my gosh. The memes,
that would be crazy.
The memes would be crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So might be switching to that. And now I do want to talk about the Pro S1 more, because I did get to play with it some more yesterday. We're getting colder here in Minnesota. It was probably right around 50 degrees. And we were playing a bunch of games, and we used the Pro S1 the whole time. Yeah. And then eventually the ball just went over the fence, and we were too lazy to go, because it's like a really big fence. So we were too lazy to go get it. And we're like, okay, we have a Dura. Let's just play with that really quick. We had played
5 minutes later, climbs the fence.
Okay, no. We played 7 games, or 6 or 7 games with that Pro S1. No cracks, nothing. Ball was awesome. We were all liking it. We didn't even make it through half a game before that Dura cracked.
That's I mean, it's not crazy. That's normal.
It just reinforced to me, 1, impressive that Pro S1 didn't crack the whole time, and then 2, it reinforced my hatred for the Dura.
Yes, exactly. I think also Davis Pickleball, Ed from Davis Pickleball, he did a little video. He froze that ball overnight, and then he brought it. Did you see that?
I saw the clip of it, but I don't think I saw the full result. Did he make it crack?
I don't think he made it cracked. Or
it's really impressive.
It was pretty impressive. It didn't crack after.
But it makes a little bit of sense, because you can tell Selkirk is really confident with this ball, because they have like that 1-year no crack warranty, which is clearly it was built to not crack. If you're confident enough to say 1 year.
Yes. Yeah, 1 year that it doesn't crack. That's pretty nuts. No one else has done that. And it's kind of like,
Dura would be out of business, even if they said 1 week. 1 week warranty, they'd still be out of business.
What are you talking about? You open up, a fresh can. Sometimes they come cracked or warped.
It's a feature. It's a feature of the ball.
It's a feature of the ball.
That's really funny.
Oh my god!
But we should go over with the warranty. Do you want to just read off some of kind of how the warranty works?
Right. So the way the warranty works is that you actually have to have at least 4 defective balls and the receipt, and you're required to submit that warranty claim. And it's only good for the original purchaser of that ball. So you have to be the original purchaser in the form. I mean, I could imagine that you could probably kind of game the system a bit if you found one that cracked and you just had an original receipt, but you happen to find 4 different cracked Pro S1s from different places, then maybe you can file a warranty claim. I mean, that's only good for like 1 can. I doubt Selkirk will continuously warrant the same purchase.
Yeah,
right?
that would be kind of crazy.
That would actually be insane. But still, you have it. So you have a little bit of peace of mind. All right, and the next thing is that, let's see, warranty does not apply for balls purchased at a discount for events, programs, and advocates and players or facilities. So you just have to be,
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. You have to be a regular consumer. And the Pro S1 Pickleball 1-year no crack warranty does not cover damage resulting from any intentional act, misuse, abuse, alteration, negligence, or any damage caused by factors beyond the manufacturer's control, which is, all par for the course, I guess.
Okay, so I agree, but also,
what?
How could you possibly prove any of that about a ball? Because the ball's literal intended design is to be smacked really hard back and forth.
I mean,
what would be intentional misuse? Like running it over with a car?
Yeah, running over the car, or the stuff that Shea does with his challenges and his trick shots. There you go.
I read that and I was like, it's a product that's designed to be abused. Like, I don't know how you abuse it any worse than like what I just said, which is running it over.
Shooting it out of some sort of cannon or something. I don't know. Who knows? Like, people get creative out there. That's all I'm saying. All right.
That's really funny. And you know what's interesting? I'd be curious to know. So it says at least 4 defective balls and the receipt or whatever. So if I buy a pack of 100 and I crack 4 balls, you telling me you're going to send me another 100 balls? There's no way. There's no way.
No, there's no way. But hey, that was a good idea. Maybe you should have kept that, one closer to the chest, so that could have happened and you got another 300 balls.
It makes me wonder what the limit on that is going to be. Like, I'm sure they would do like the 12 pack and the 4 pack, but I can't imagine warranting 100 balls even if you cracked 20 of them. Are you really going to give another 100 balls for 80 that are still good?
I doubt it. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah. If I was Selkirk, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I have questions about that, how they would handle that. Because the rest of the warranty, it's not clear because it's like normal wear and tear, also not covered under warranty. And then
somebody's listening to this pod right now thinking about this, and they're going to buy 100 and they're going to see, and then they're going to do it and they'll report back to us. I can tell.
Dude, do you know how long it would take to even crack even cracking 20? I haven't managed to crack one yet. So I'm like, how are you going to... I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm sure you can crack them. I'm sure someone's done it. But it's not easy.
Of course it's not easy, especially for you. Are you kidding me? Like, it's a miracle you even cracked the Duras. But, that's more of a testament to the Duras.
There's still 3 other people on the court hitting the ball. The crack doesn't have to come from me. It's not like I'm hitting by myself.
Okay, you're right. I'm just saying it, okay?
That is funny. That is funny. He's punching below the belt today. But yeah, I really do think the Pro S1's a really good ball. I think we have honestly quite a few decent options. I know there's a lot of people who really like the Diadem ball. When I was trying it still felt a little soft to me, but I've heard similar things that it is very good durability, doesn't really crack. So the Diadem ball might be a solid option. And then, I mean, I haven't really hit the Yola Helios. To me, it still just kind of reminds me of a Dura, so it makes me wonder if we're going to have the durability issues. And then obviously Oso, Fury's solid.
Yeah. The Helios doesn't crack. I'm going to do a video about it. Actually, I have a video in the works. It's probably going to come out sometime this week. It might have already come out by the time you're listening to this pod. But the Helios has a little bit more durability than the Dura. I mean, it doesn't crack. When I say that, it means it doesn't crack nearly as fast, but it still warps just as quickly and maybe more aggressively than the Dura, in my opinion. Yeah, because it doesn't crack, and I don't know, all that force goes somewhere, and I feel like it just warps rather fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll pray that Santa decides to convince the PPA gods that the Pro S1 is the ball of choice.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. We'll see. Okay. Did you want to get into any of these other topics? I know there was a PPA event that happened. I think Ben Johns lost.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about it really quick, I guess. It wasn't as exciting as I think I thought it was going to be, but Yeah, Ben lost. He lost to Jame and Wyatt Stone, which is a crazy team for Ben and Colin to lose to, in my opinion.
That was a surprise to me as well. But then Jame and Stone lost in the next round. Was it to DJ Young and
Tyler?
And Tyler Loom?
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, you can tell Ben and Colin were clearly off, but like also hard to blame them. Like, this was 3 tournaments back to back to back. Like, that is a lot of tournaments. MLP, Nationals, and then this. Like, that's overdoing it, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well,
yeah.
Speaking of back-to-back tournaments, I mean, I guess we'll just go into, my little adventures in Houston, Texas.
Before you do that really quick, other thing I want to say on the PPA that I thought was interesting is Anna Lee is 50, apparently 50-0 in doubles this year. She obviously hasn't lost anything. She's, had a bajillion triple crowns, but that's crazy. 50-0
in doubles. So not even a game, or you mean just matches? She's lost. No,
just matches. Yeah, she's lost games for sure, but matches, like that's
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She's probably even more unstoppable now with her new paddle. Have you hit with it?
Yeah, that paddle's pretty good. I would genuinely believe that she actually plays with that paddle, because this one's good and it hits hard. Like it's a good paddle. It's pretty solid. I don't know that it's going to sway most of the other market. It feels like a lot of the market is kind of, they don't really care about paddle tech anymore. But I think they made a pretty good paddle.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
It's just expensive.
What happens? Oh, how much does it go for?
$230.
$230. Okay. I mean, it's not, outrageous when compared to the other paddles out on the market and the price points. And you're saying it's good. So what I'm saying is it worth that price point?
I mean, worth it is really hard to say in pickleball. Like if you take the whole package, spin, pop, power, I think it's really good. And then it has a lifetime warranty. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a huge plus with.
And you got Emily Waters' name on it.
That's oddly a big con for people. I've had several guys that were already like, yeah, I wouldn't play with this just because her name's on it. And not because they don't like Anna Lee. It's just because it's a girl's name. And that blows my mind every time.
That's the same thing that happened with
Anna.
At Anna Bryce paddle.
I'm like, man, you guys gotta like people gotta stop being soft. Like, oh no, there's a girl's name on my paddle. Like, get over. Like, so stupid. Stop.
The funny thing is that is it just because it's the fact that it's a girl? Because this girl, like, clearly it's not a skill thing, because like this girl, these girls could smoke you guys. Like, that's the funny thing.
I know. So it just makes me laugh, because I sit there and I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I like the pink double black diamond. Like, put a girl's name on it, and I'll play with the pink paddle. I don't care if the paddle's good. I'll play with it.
Dang.
Like, yeah. So I thought that was silly, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good paddle, but probably not enough to sway a lot of the market. But I think for some people, they're going to be like, dang. Like, I think there's a lot of women who will really like it because it has a small grip size, packs a big punch, and it's very light, and the swing weight's low. So I do think there's a lot of women who like it, and the shape of it, square, a little more forgiving. So yeah, I think it has a place, but if you're like a 6-0 fan or something, I just don't know if it would like sway you.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Anything else from the PPA that happened that we should recap? Oh, who won gold? It was for men's dubs. Right here. You were
JW and Dylan, and they played Christian and Connor Garnett.
Okay. Not bad. The score line was 11-8, 11-9, 11-4. Some pretty close games. So
yeah,
that's a little refreshing to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, not much. Like, it wasn't overly exciting either way. There was like a couple matches I watched, and I was like, yeah, these are some fun matches to watch, but nothing that just made me go like, oh, it's no crazy news.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I honestly didn't watch much of it because I was busy out in Houston. I went straight to Houston right after Dallas, and people asked me, why I'm out here, and really it was just because I wanted to go. And I mean, you had an escapade out in LA. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have my own escapade out in Houston, Texas. Right.
You're like, dang it, Texas, I want to sign like Chris. I want to welcome Pickleball Will sign.
No, I didn't get none of that. None of that. However, I did get a very warm welcome from Jen and Richard from OMFG Pickleball.
Yeah.
So shout outs to them. We met them at the Texas Open earlier this year, right? Yeah. Richard was wearing a 3.5 at best shirt, and I just saw him out in the wild. And he was like walking a different direction, and then I just like pointed him out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Chris, it's your shirt. It's out in the wild." And then he found me. Yeah, and then we just chatted with them. Anyway, so I went there. I went to multiple places to play pickleball. Was in a little tournament. Let's see. They have a lot of kind of places to play. There's a few facilities open out. I don't think they have as many like kind of public courts. Every place I went to was some sort of establishment. So I went to the Bumpy Pickle. It's kind of like a chicken pickle type deal. Like there's some beer, outdoor courts, and yeah, no, it was sweet. Weather was great. And then after playing there, I was playing. I had a few drinks in me. I was feeling real good. And then after that, I went to Elite Pickleball, which is another indoor facility. And dude, it was a Tuesday night. And I was like, why are we going here? It's like, by the time I got there, it was like 10 p.m. He's like, oh, no, you should go. I'm like, what? It's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. This place was packed. That's crazy. It was jumping. And they were still going hard until midnight. I was flabbergasted. I was like, oh my gosh. What?
Dude, you're telling me the people I was with in California, like 2 of the nights we went out for dinner, well, one of them might have been weekend. Anyways, one of the nights, it was a weekday or the next day was a weekday. People had to go to work. We did not leave this restaurant until about 1 a.m. And the whole time I'm like, guys, first of all, I have a flight in the morning, but you guys have jobs to go to. And they're like, yeah, like this is normal. We do this like all the time. And I'm like, like one of them had to be up at 6 and we were out till 1. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how are you going to function?
I'm convinced that 25% of pickleball players out there are unemployed just because of the amount of pickleball they play.
Or they're already retired.
Right. That too. But as young as pickleball players are now getting, I'm convinced that they're unemployed or they're just skipping work. I'd be very curious if there was any statistics that show how much productivity in dollar amounts is lost from companies because people and players would skip work or go to work late because they're playing pickleball, or they're just playing pickleball like too late and they don't wake up the next day, or they skip like their morning meetings or whatever to play pickleball. I'm very curious.
Same, because there's a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I've played with people who literally bring their laptop to our court and like have their phone tethered to it, and they're like, "Yeah, I just occasionally have to walk over to this and make sure they don't need me for anything. So if I do, just like forgive me." And I'm like, bro, you're like on the clock right now.
Yes, dude. There was somebody at the Elite Pickleball Club, and I don't remember his name, but somebody told me, he's like, "Oh, this guy's on call right now." I was like, "Oh, on call?" I was like, "Dude, it's like 10:30." He's like, "Oh yeah, he's a doctor." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh my gosh!
Like I don't know if he's a surgeon.
Operation, like sweaty.
Yeah, with a paddle.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, dude. I don't know. Pickleball players are just built different, man. We're just way too addicted.
Yeah. Well, I want to, shout out to all the people that said what's up to me in Houston. They all come up to me and say, yo, love the content, love the pod. And I'm not going to lie to you, with the amount of people that come up and say that, it still surprises me because after we record a pod and we finish like, oh yeah, that was a good episode, there's a part of me that's always like, man, people listen to us. It still kind of blows my mind. I'm like, I'm not really talking about anything over here, but yeah, people listen to us, and I think it's funny.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's fun. It's fun. So tell me about this tournament.
Okay, so Jen and Richard from OMFG Pickleball, they held a little tournament at this place called another place called Drop Shots. Okay, at first I was just gonna go, hang out, but then she's like, hey, you want to, go do this tournament? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will, but I don't have a partner. But Nam, he came from Dallas. He came with me to Houston to go check it out. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can convince Nam. Because Nam, even though he's involved in pickleball, he's somewhat of like a pickleball hater. No, not really a hater, but he gets
definitely not a hater, but he likes to act like, nah, I only do this for work. And I'm like,
for work.
Nam, when you're on the court, I know you're having fun.
Yeah. Well, when he's playing his style, like, just banging the ball, he's having fun. So here's the thing. He was kind of iffy about it. I was a little iffy about it. But then I was like, hey, Nam, there's actually a cash prize. Winner gets, I think it was $300. He's like, 300? Sign me up. Like, here's the thing. I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you this story about Nam. Okay. I think Nam coming here to Houston. Okay. I think this man played poker more than he slept on this trip. Okay. Let me tell you the story. Here, let me tell you the thing about this tournament. Okay. Friday night before the tournament, I go play some pickleball. I drop him off at the card house. He's going to go play some Texas Hold'em. Okay. I drop him off at like 7 p.m. Okay. Midnight. I go play pickleball. Hear nothing from him. You know what the thing is? That man did not hit me up. I went back to the Airbnb. I did not hear from this man until like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's like, hey, Will, can you let me in? So this man is out playing cards. And I was like, what are you doing, dude? We have a tournament tomorrow. He gets 1 hour of like sleep. He comes in, showers, does his thing. And I was like, yo, how much money did you make though? And he was like, dude, I'm up 4K. And I'm like, what?
Bro, I'd only get 1 hour of sleep for a tournament too if I made 4K playing poker.
Yo,
that's way more tournament money than you guys are gonna win in the tournament.
That's what I'm saying.
He should have just been like, Will, I'll pay you to not play the tournament. I'll pay you $300 right now.
No, he wouldn't do that. As soon as he heard there's money involved, he was like, yeah, I'm in. Count me in, Will. I was like, Nam, are you gonna be able to wake up for this? And he was like, bro, yeah, I'm gonna be able to wake up for this. There's money on the line, bro.
He's like, awake for it. I'm not going to sleep.
Here's the thing. I was a little skeptical at first because this man didn't get any sleep. And I was like, man, Nam, if you could read these people's hands and stuff in poker as well as you read these people's hands and counters playing pickleball, shoot, it doesn't even matter. We'd be playing 5-0 plus. But that's not necessarily the case. But anyways, we go play in this tournament. We play in the advanced division. Okay. And I would say the advanced division is mostly 4-0 to 4-5 players. Some of the teams were pretty tough. And I just told Nam, I was like, hey, Nam, let's go bang, bang. Bang, bang, sure, baby. There was like, we almost like did no dinking. My shoulder actually hurts because I was swinging the Lux like so heavy. Like every single time I was like, choo, choo,
yeah.
Choo. And it is sore now. But we did win. And
how many teams?
There was, I want to say, so first of all, I don't remember the amount of teams, but it was a Swiss format. So it was kind of like you played pools and then you went into a bracket. And I feel like that's how most tournaments should kind of go, And then the tournament started at 10 a.m. and we finished at like 3:30. But I just like the format. It was one game up to 11, right? Mm-hmm. And then after that, once you get into the bracket, it's one game 15? Up to 15. Yep. And then the finals would be best out of 3, out of 11. It just kept the things kind of moving, right? And the thing is that I want to say there was like maybe 8 teams, right? I want to say 8 to 10 teams potentially. I can't quite remember. I didn't pay attention. I was like, okay, call me up. I'm getting on court. Ball come over net. I hit ball. Yeah, that was my mentality for the most part. But I did have a good time meeting all the people there. I will say though that this facility called Drop Shots, there was no AC, and it was kind of covered. And it's kind of a fairly new facility. I think they're gonna add it on, and it did get a little hot in there. But with the large doors and garage doors, I guess bay doors that were open, it wasn't that bad. But when you did play, and because it was only one game, it wasn't that bad, because you kind of got in, get your game in, and
take a break.
For the pool play, you could take a break and then you can bounce out. It was win by 1. But I will say though, when I was playing, it did get hot and humid and sweaty in there, even though the weather was really nice outside. But man, throughout that whole day, I had a bad case of swamp ass. I'm not gonna lie to you. Shoot. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, and it's like uncomfortable sometimes. So I was like, man, I have to go out here, strutting around looking like I got a wedgie, like all around.
Oh, that's not fun.
No, it wasn't fun. But I mean, shoot, luckily you weren't there, because with the booty that you have down there, that would have been like a whole bayou. I mean, you would have like a whole ecosystem going on there. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh no. Oh gosh. That's
okay.
Funny.
But anyways, it was a great tournament, great turnout.
Good.
Yeah. And Like, I really like these kind of local tournaments. Do you like? I know we talked about this before, right? I mean, comparing to PPA and some of the larger tournaments, you know, it's. Do you think that like will people want to go to these larger tournaments if they don't improve the player experience? Because at that point, it's like, all right, what am I paying for? You know, because at this local tournament, like, there's an opportunity to also win money as well, and it was smoother. It was run very smoothly. You got a lot of games in. I don't know. What do you think about that?
So I did have this actually on our topic list. So I guess we'll just talk about it a little bit. We don't have to go crazy with it, but I've had the same thought because we have our annual like CT summer send off and CT summer kickoff. I can't remember. We have two big Minnesota tournaments that usually have about like 400 plus players, and it's one of my favorite tournaments to play in. It's run very well. It's the same format you said. You do pool play, game to 11, and then a bracket, and then it's single elimination in the bracket. And if you make it to a medal match, it's best 2 out of 3, games to 11. And the pool play is usually like 6 games. So plenty of games to play all these people, get warmed up, get going, and then be ready for the bracket. Has everything you want. Like, there's free snacks, there's good spectating, the courts we're playing on are good, the prices of the tournament are reasonable. It's like $60 to enter. If you play the open division, there's money for it. I feel like you just get a good sense of like the local community. Like, you know, it's that tournament specific, which is my only like big local tournament experience, I guess. I love it. I think it's great. Personally, better than most PPAs I've been to. I'm not going to say it's the best tournament I've ever been to, but it's probably top 3 for sure.
Yeah. So what you compare it to, I feel like.
What's that?
It's like what you compare it to. Like, there has to be a tournament out there or an experience that you that sets the bar. Like, this is the standard, you know?
And see, it's interesting. I think in terms of like actual, man, I'd have to really sit and think, but like actual tournament, well, you know what? Indian Wells would probably be my number 1 because that was just so good. Tournament ran very smoothly. I liked everything about that. But like, man, I really do think if PPA, and I haven't been to an APP in a while, so I can't really comment on that. But at least as far as PPA goes, I feel like if they don't start really making this amateur experience better, either they're going to have to hope that people only want to come spectate the pros, which probably not, or like you're just going to have a big problem with the amateurs. Like, you see the complaints on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
And I just don't have like any of those complaints with my local tournament.
Mm-hmm. Would you would you pay to only go spectate the pros and like not be able to play? Like, would you do that?
Well, I'm going to say yes because it's partially my job, and I'm sure I would go watch some events, but like what? No. There's no way I'm if it was in my state, sure, I might go pay and watch, but like I wouldn't travel to do it.
Right, exactly.
Not until it gets to the point where there's like, you know, grand slams and it actually means something and there's like more storylines. Like, if it got to like tennis, sure, maybe, but we're not there yet. There's no way I'd pay for the current what we have.
I see. No, I totally agree. Okay, well, let me see. Let's move on to, you know, you were talking about, you know, the Indian Wells and how the venue is important, right? I'm gonna go back to when I was in Houston. I went to all the other places and the different venues. I'm gonna tell you this one story. I went to a pretty popular place called Pala. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's a great facility. They have outdoor courts, indoor courts, a lot of space. Okay. My only gripe about this place is that the LED lights up top were like strip LEDs, and it lit up the courts great, but it would blind my eyes. Like, I could not see.
If you looked up?
If I looked up. So when I went there to go play, right? And I went there for open play. And apparently there was like kind of 2 open plays. There's kind of like a league and like a more like general open play. And the front desk person was like, "Oh yeah, you can play with us. Like, you look like a good player. We have a good group going on. We'll sign you up." So he takes my information, right? I sign it all up. And the guy was like, "Dude, I'm sorry, you can't play." And I'm like, "Well, what? What do you mean I can't play?" Right? I just signed up, right? And I paid and everything. He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You don't meet the age requirements." I'm like, "What do you mean I don't meet the age requirements?" I gotta be 18 plus. Like, what's going on here? And he's like, no,
Yeah.
you're too old. He's like, you're too old. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm too old? There's an age
Bro, you
restriction.
just got told by this front desk guy that you're like a senior citizen. You just got to experience what that feels like. At the age of ripe 35, you just got told you're too old to play pickleball.
Yeah, no, for real. You know what's funny? During this trip, I forgot what my age was actually. Like, I was talking to Jen or whatever, and we're like, oh yeah, we're the same age. Like, she says, I'm 34. And I was like, oh yeah, we're the same age. And then we just get to chat more. It's like, oh, so when did you graduate and stuff? And I was like, wait, you graduated this year? No, I graduated, from like college or high school 2006, 2010. And it's like, wait, I thought we were the same age. And I literally forgot. I was like, oh crap, I'm 35.
Oh, that's funny. So wait, what
Yeah.
was the age cutoff?
30. You had to be like under the age of 30. But like, I don't know, he did some finagling. He got me in and I played with him. It was him and a bunch of like his friends. And it was a pretty competitive group. I think they were all friends, and they're all like Mexican. And I mean, they clearly played a lot with each other because some of them, after a few shots, let's just say some of the language they used was, not that I understood it all, but some of it was a bit colorful. You know what I'm saying?
You could tell it was people who knew each other.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I know a little bit. And I was like, those some colorful language, man. I might have seen the whole entire spectrum of the rainbow over here playing each of these matches. Like, dang, fill out the coloring book, yo. Shoot,
That's
make sure you color in
funny.
between the lines.
That's funny.
They were pretty good. I would say 4-0. Some of them were like 4-5. But here's the thing. I could instantly tell that some of them played tennis, and some of them played paddle or padel, because I could tell the smashes that are like, shoulder height, head height, that you and I would just like, crank like overhead wise. They would do the padel slice, like, low to high, like down,
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty effective because like the ball would kind of come fast and skip. I might have to add that to my repertoire a little bit, and it kind of keeps you back a little bit. It was just very interesting to kind of see the shot selection and the stroke. Like, they did very well, and their drops were either really good or they would just kind of float a little too high, with the backspin that they were doing, because and then they did miss quite a bit on the top of the tape because you're going from a high to low kind of like stroke.
Yeah.
And even some of the serves, I was like, that might be illegal because it looks like
that's
they're
funny.
going from high to low. But I was like, okay,
Sure.
whatever. But
Yeah,
no,
like, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a serve.
yeah, it doesn't matter. That was a good time though.
Very nice.
And then here's the thing. After that, I think this was another night that Nam went to go play poker, and I was trying to kill time, and Pallet closed at 10. And then I was like, okay, I went to go eat, and then I was like, you know what? Let's go back to Elite because they closed at midnight. So I went back over there. Dude, this place was popping again. They had a social going on. There was so many people. And here's the thing. They almost didn't let me in. Like, I got there pretty late. I was like, oh, it's rightfully fine. Like, you have to sign up for the social to get in. There's a cap or whatever. But shout outs. I think his name was Stan at the front desk. He looked at me. He's like, wait, aren't you that YouTube guy? And I'm like, yes. And I was like, does that get me in to play? He's like, I got you, man. And I was like, yes, it's my first time my YouTube stardom, paid dividends.
Imagine he's like, yeah, you're Chris, right? Okay, let's hypothetically say this is how it played out. He's like, hey, aren't you like that YouTube guy? Like, you review paddles? He's like, Chris, right? Would you have just played it off, or would you have been like, oh no, I'm a different YouTuber?
Nah, I would have played it off. Yeah, that's me. I'm Chris. Yeah, he's like, okay.
So now I got to worry about two people stealing my identity, my brother and you.
I would have said I'm Chris, but the follow up would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll put you in the 3-5 section right over here. You can play with the lower group.
That
you can
would
paddle
be
stack
funny.
over here. That's court 1 through 3.
Oh no, that's funny.
But no,
That's really funny.
I met some people's there. It was a good time. Some people, yeah, they notice. They know me. They know us from the pod, dude. They come through.
Cool.
Sometimes they're not sure. Sometimes they're a little like afraid. I don't know if you get this. I don't know if it's just me, because I'm like not as approachable as you or something, right? But there was another place that I went to go play called the Houston Pickleball Center, and I didn't hear this, but Nam and a few others that are sitting down, they heard like one of the courts behind me, like the guys like, yo, that's Pickleball Will. But they didn't come to say what's up to me or anything. So I was like, okay, they just don't know. So it's fine. But like, I just thought that was funny. But
I do think people, and understandably so, I would be the same way with, I guess, anyone that I view of like a higher status, you know, probably some of the pros. Like, I would just assume they don't want to be bothered. So I would probably, you know, not go say hi. But like, at least for me, like I've said it on the pod, I'm like, guys, as long as you can tell I'm not in a horrible mood, like I just like lost a horrible match or something, and like, come say hi. Like even if that happens, I'm not gonna be like, no. Like I just might not be as cheerful, but like I'm never gonna be upset that you came and said hi. Though there was a guy on my flight home from Nationals.
Somebody on the plane that knew you.
Yeah, he was literally right behind me. So I sit down. And I don't remember how the conversation started. I think he just said, hey, man, like, just wanted to say hi. Really like the content. He's like, I know you have, like, all these middle-aged men fanboying over you, so, like, I don't want to take your time. And I know that's a direct quote because of you and Nam, not even me. I was like, I don't know if this guy's being serious and he thinks I'm going to be upset, but I was like, no. Like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't bother me. It's just a joke that my friends tease me about. Like, I like talking, so we chatted a little bit before the flight took off. But you talking about this made me think of that interaction.
This kind of reminds me of, I guess if you think about it, we are kind of like we're well known enough, and I would argue that we're probably more well known than some of the pros out there, or even the lower level pros out there. But this reminds me, and I don't know if I told the story when we were at Nationals, right? When we were with our buddy, Valesky? But like we were all talking, remember? And then he was like, hey, watch this. And then he's like, let's get a group photo. Let's watch this. And then JW Johnson comes through. He's like, hey man, JW, can we get a photo? And JW was like, yeah, sure. And he gives JW the phone. He's like, hey. He's like, take a photo of us. And
we did end up putting him in the picture, though. We did get someone else to take it.
We did.
But it was the thought of hilarious of being like, hey, JW, we need you to take a picture of us.
Well, the cool thing is that JW was totally down for it. And like,
yeah.
He does it,
JW,
he's such a good sport about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Nah, that's pretty cool. Definitely, it sounds like it was a fun trip.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a fun trip. I also got to play against Austin Gridley. He was there at the
fun.
social. Yeah, he runs a lot of that, and he lives there now, and
cool.
He teaches there. So it was my second encounter with Mr. Gridley. I think last year I had a good time playing against Austin, and Austin is a deceptively like quick, and like sneaky like kind of player. Like I'm like, yo, how are you moving in those Air Monarchs so fast? Like I don't understand.
That's funny.
But it was good playing against him again. So that was some good games. And let's see. Yeah, that place was going strong up until midnight, dude. Yeah.
That's insane. And that's so late.
That's pretty much like most of my like Houston trip. You should definitely go out there. It was a lot of fun. Food was good, and Jen and Richard were awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, sounds fun. Sounds fun to me. I should have said this a while ago, but like that whole section was definitely the kitchen. But I
have one for the kitchen. You want me to give it to you? I'm gonna give it to you right now.
I mean, you can give it to me. I have a small thing for the kitchen, but like with all the stories we just told there, totally could have been the kitchen.
No. This is the real story for the kitchen right here. I'm gonna tell you, okay?
All right, hit me with it.
Okay. I don't think I told you the story either. Okay.
Okay.
So this is gonna be new for you. So on the way to Houston, driving to Houston from Dallas,
yeah,
and Nam and I literally could have died. Okay.
Okay. I'm glad you didn't die.
Yes. No, Nam is... All right, so I'm driving. Nam is knocked out. Like, face. Drooling, just, from his lip. Okay?
Yeah.
And me and this other car, we've kind of been, like, not really tailing each other, but, like, sometimes he gets ahead, and then I kind of tail him, and then sometimes he slows down, and I get ahead of him. And this car is a little beat up. Okay? It doesn't have a bumper. Okay? And we get to a row of semi trucks that are on the right lane. Okay, so this other driver is in front of me. I'm behind him, and we're speeding up because we're trying to get past all these semi trucks. Okay,
Yep.
as we are going, we barely pass the semi trucks on our right, and all of a sudden, and I could see it. I'm like kind of like right behind him, like maybe I would say like 3 car lengths behind him, maybe. Okay, and his hood literally pops up and smacks into his windshield, and I'm like, dude. This dude cannot see a single thing. And I saw it and I tense up and my jaw is dropping. Like, okay. He swivels around a little bit. He barely makes it by. And like this could have ended so bad. Okay. But when that happened, he was maybe 1 car length ahead of the semi truck. Okay. And thankfully this dude's a good driver because he instantly kind of semi slows down a little bit. Okay. And then I think he probably can see like on his side mirrors and he probably saw the trucks like behind him. So he speeds up a little bit more, puts on his blinkers and emergency, and then goes off into the shoulder. But I'm like, this could have ended so bad. Like,
Holy cow, that could have ended terrible.
he could have swerved. He could have hit this truck. I don't know what was going to happen. I'm essentially boxed in. It's me, him, the semi truck on my right. And then like, there's a little bit of a shoulder on the left, but it's like a ditch. And I'm like, dude, this could have been so bad. So we make it through, okay? And my jaw's just dropping for a good like 10 minutes straight, and I'm just like looking over at Nam, and I'm like, man, this fool doesn't even know that like we could.
He doesn't even know that he just avoided death.
Yeah, exactly. It was nuts,
dude. Okay, remember like 2 episodes ago when I said, if I die, you need to finish the pod for the year? We didn't talk about you dying. We said me dying.
Yeah.
So don't go dying on me before the end of the year here.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, could you imagine? Because literally the hood like popped up and his windshield must have been cracked. Now I don't know if it's cracked or not, but like it looked like it slammed hard. And yeah.
Dude, I can't imagine being him. At least you had full vision.
Exactly. I mean, if that happened to me, I definitely would have died. I would have panicked, veered off. It would have been a wrap.
All right, so now I know that I need to be the one driving anytime I'm with you.
No, you don't. I'm just like, I mean, as long as the car is in shape, because that's not supposed to happen. The hood of your car is not supposed to smack open into your windshield when you're going on the highway. It's fine. It's fine.
That's true. Well, speaking of this, my story also relates to cars. Now, I don't have a near-death experience, but I thought it was ironic. This last PPA tournament was the Herts Gold Cup, and I use Herts for all my rentals. Not really even intentionally, though I will say it probably is a subconscious thing where like I keep hearing about Herts and it just ends up being the car I use. So I'm sure that's advertising actually working. Anyways, I've used Herts for like the whole last year, probably year and a half. And I noticed on a few of my trips that most of the time I'm not logged in when I'm booking. And I noticed a few times that I would get like, let's say $500 not logged in. And then I'm like, I need to log in so that like it's all under my account and whatever. And then I would log in and the price would be like $800. And I was like, whoa, what? I'm like, what happened? What changed? I'm so confused. And so I was booking our Hawaii rental car the other day. The other times I just wrote it off. I said, okay, that's weird. I'll log out and book and it just won't be under my account, whatever. But it's annoying because I can't open the app and do everything. So same thing happens for Hawaii. It was going to be like a $475 rental, and then it was like $780 when I was logged into my account. So I was like, no way I'm booking with my account. So I booked without. I got the cheap price. I looked this up. This is the thing Hertz does. If you use their free account to book your rental car, and the ironic thing is I just hit status with Hertz, which I don't even know what all it gets me. But I got a thing that was like, hey, you've booked enough cars, you get upgraded, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was like, dude, I don't care if you're going to charge me $300 more. I'm going to book all of these off my account now. Like,
what?
People on Google said this happens to them.
Really?
Dumbest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, nice job. Like, PPA, one of the big sponsors for this thing is like super shady.
Are they still a big sponsor for PPA?
Dude, their last tournament, literally the tournament was called the PPA Hertz Gold Cup.
Well, that's dumb. Well, I also noticed that I haven't been seeing... Oh, because remember there was
a ton of ads.
there's a ton of ads, but there's also a lot of PPA players. Remember, they did a bunch of ads.
Yeah, the Herts
on
posts, yes.
The Herts posts. And so I don't see those anymore. It's probably because they found out the same thing. It's like, what? I'm a sponsored whatever player, and I got to still pay an extra $300 if I wasn't, right?
Whatever it is, so stupid. So I'm probably going to... I like Hertz. I've not had any issues, but I'm definitely not a fan of them upcharging for being logged in. I might just use it without logging in, but it is a little bit more annoying, like keeping track of trips and yada, yada, yada. But like, no way I'm paying an extra $300 because I clicked log in.
It has to be something. Like, it can't just
If you find it, you let me know.
Okay, if you guys are down there in the comments, if you know anything about this, like if this is actually a thing where it's not just some sort of hidden fee, or maybe you're paying that $300, you get something extra. I don't know. If you know the deal,
here's the only thing. Here's the only difference I have personally seen so far. If I booked with my account and I show up, there's a board and it just says like, here's the parking spot that my car is in, and I go get it. Otherwise, if I haven't been logged in when I do the car, I have to go to the front desk and talk to them, and they tell me like, oh, here it is, blah, blah, blah. That's the only difference I have personally seen. There might be other things that I'm not aware of, but that's all I've noticed. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go talk to the front desk lady for $300. Thank you.
Okay. If this is true, right, and there's no good explanation for being logged in and paying extra money, it makes sense that the PPA and the Hertz are partnered together. Just, the customer experience is, not that great. It could just be greatly improved upon.
Yep. So, yeah, that's my Hertz story. That's what I had marked in the kitchen. I just saw that and I was like, bro,
come on.
Why? Like, what else? Whatever. But I don't know. You got anything else?
No, man. That's it.
Nice. Well,
That's it
Thanksgiving next week, and then San Clemente.
Is there going to be a pod?
Oh, please. Stop. We are like 4 or 5 pods away. We're almost there. Then we get a month off. Month off, man. That's going to be crazy for the pod.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Now that we have almost built up this year streak, I was like, dude, imagine if we had like a 4-year streak of never missing an episode. And then I, for half a second, was like, maybe we do the pod in January. And I was like, no, Chris, you're not working. You're not doing work in January.
No.
Stop.
Yes. Don't do it.
So.
It'll people will fiend for, the next episode even more. We can tell them about all the stories and all the pickleball we played in the month of January or not.
True. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll catch you next week.
Later.